We're now standing in a old cultivation paddock on the back of my property, Collarina. It's probably been 10 or 15, 20 years now since this paddock's been cultivated. Just a conventional method of ploughing up your country several times and then growing oats and cereal crops or whatever you loosen and all that sort of thing. Just getting too much erosion from water runoff. So what we've done is we've allowed native grasses to regenerate here, and provides ground cover, stabilises the soil. These native grasses are good soil conditioners too, so they improve your soil structure. The method we used to get these native grasses back into this paddock, well, was really quite simple. We didn't seed them. All we did was just graze the old cultivation paddocks. The native grasses, in spite of being sprayed out, ploughed out for several decades, they came back into this paddock and all the paddocks on our property of their own accord. This paddock's been grazed. It's been fertilised a couple of years ago with superphosphate with MO. We use molybdenum to try and encourage some of our introduced legumes. Introduced legumes that we use, your medics, and we have used subclovers at some stage just to attempt to give us that a bit of winter green feed. The trouble with these native grasses, my biggest challenge with them has been is not a production side of thing. Like, you can look around now, a wet season you'll end up with more grass than you know what to do with. The issue with them, that I have with them, is that they go off very quick in the cooler weather. You get the cold and the frost and they quickly lose their nutritive value. I'm of the personal opinion that all this grass you see here, all this vegetation, you're better grazing it off within 12 months of its actual growing period. You leave it any longer than that, it's going to have bugger all nutritive value, and it's just going to shade the growing points at the base of these grasses. Most grasses have their growth points down at the base of the plant. Once the plant gets up, you see it going to seed now, all that vegetation is actually shading the growing points of the plant. This paddock has been grazed with 800 sheep during the spring. Before that, it was grazed probably a decade now with big mobs of cattle, 300 to 400 head of cattle for 2 or 3 days, and those cattle moved on to the next paddock, and this paddock wouldn't be grazed for 2 or 3 months again, allowing these grasses to recover. So we looked at an area of land that hadn't been grazed, fertilised. It was full of an introduced grass, dominant introduced grass, Kulitai grass. This is a paddock, never been seeded with native grasses. It's been grazed, it's been fertilised, and it's now dominated by native grass species. We have Queensland bluegrass, yeah, that silky top stuff. Amongst it, that white top, that's Danthonia, and down here on the ground, be hard to get a look at, that is Glycine latifolia. It's a native species of soybean, would you believe it? Soybean is Glycine max, that's Glycine latifolia. There's some more native legumes. We might take a stroll and see if we can find a few more.